Hello students, welcome back to another video on GST. And today we'll be uncovering some other aspects of GST. And before that, let's have a quick recap of what we discussed in the earlier video. In the previous video we discussed what is GST. That is, GST is an indirect tax that was levied in the year 2017 from 1st July, and it is a comprehensive multi-staged value addition tax that subsumed so many indirect taxes that used to exist earlier, and it is applicable on all manufacturers, sale and consumption of goods and services without any distinction. And there are various components of GST: the central GST, that is CGST, and state GST, that is SGST. And whenever any transaction is made within a state, that is intrastate, then whatever be the GST collected, that will be distributed equally among the or between the center and the state. And the second component was the IGST, that is integrated GST, and that integrated GST is applicable when interstate transactions take place, and whatever be the tax rate, that tax goes to the central government. And under GST, the tax slabs have been maintained. The first one is zero tax rate, means there are commodities and goods which have been kept in this category where on which no tax is levied. Then the next category is of 5%, where 5% tax rate is charged on goods and services. Then the next slab is of 12%. Then the next is 18%, and the maximum tax rate is 28% under GST. And the most number of goods and services are categorized under the 18% slab, where goods and services are charged at the rate of 18%. So these were the tax slabs. Now today's main emphasis will be on understanding what are the various objectives and advantages and disadvantages of GST. So let's start with the objectives of GST. The first objective of GST is to eliminate the cascading effect of taxes. So what is cascading effect? Means charging tax on taxes. Means already if taxes have paid and it has been added to the value of that product, and again if the entire value is taxed, then taxes will be charged on taxes previously paid. So this impact, that cascading of tax, has been eliminated. Now only value addition is taxed, that is entire value of the goods and services is not taxed at any particular stage. Only that value is taxed which is added or net added to the value of that particular commodity or goods at that stage. So the very important objective is to eliminate or to remove the cascading effect. Now the second objective is to subsume all the indirect taxes. There were web of indirect taxes like excise duties, custom duties, service taxes, VATs, some surcharges, etc. So all these indirect taxes, most of these indirect taxes have been subsumed and brought under one umbrella tax, that is GST. Then the next objective is to reduce the tax evasion and corruption. Means what it aims to reduce the corruption activities in the taxation department. Means under GST there is no physical transaction or dealing with the authorities and the businessmen. Everything is done through online or electronic mode. So since there is no physical interface, and all the vouchers and all the invoices are matched by both of the recipient and the suppliers before crediting that in tax credit. So means all these provisions and facilities have the impact of reducing the corruption or any fraudulent activities in the taxation department. And then the next objective is to increase the productivity of the businesses. Means if businesses can achieve cost efficiency due to GST, because previously whenever a businessman wanted to make transactions from other states, then at every state they have to pay entry fees. Now that entry fee and some other logistic constraints, increase the prices of the commodities and services whatever they wanted to provide. But due to GST's application, all such constraints have been removed, and the better prices or cheap cost efficiency can be achieved by the business houses. So definitely it increases the productivity of the business houses. Now the next objective is to increase the tax compliance. Tax compliance means business people or taxpayers who are doing businesses are complying with GST guidelines or whatever formalities are required under GST. It means they are doing that. So all the system or the procedures under GST have been simplified, have been smoothened, so that more and more tax compliance can be achieved. Then the next objective is to increase the tax GDP ratio, and as its impact to increase the revenue surplus. So if the tax to GDP ratio increases, definitely more taxes will be collected. More taxes collection means more fund, more resources for the government, and more resources means there will be a surplus revenue, and that surplus revenue is definitely an indicator of the efficiency of economy, and definitely that economy will be more efficient if you have more resources at your disposal. Now the next objective is to bring more and more people under the tax net. Previously organized sector was not attended under the previous tax structure. Many were left out. So under this GST, more and more people are brought under that tax net. Organized sectors have been regulated, and they are also taken into this GST net. So this has helped in bringing more and more people into this and broaden the tax under tax base of India. And the next objective is to achieve one nation, one tax policy. This GST is a uniform tax that is applied uniformly throughout the country, and there is no discrimination of taxes in one state and other state. So there is more similarities of prices, less price discrimination wherever at any place in the country. And then next objective is to provide the input tax credit facility. This is very important. We can understand that input tax credit by an example. Suppose at the first stage of the supply chain, rupees 500 GST was paid. Now when that commodity moves to the second stage and value is added to that commodity, and now the tax GST that is charged is 800. So the previous tax GST that was paid at the first stage is rupees 500. That 500 will be refunded at the second stage, and so the net GST payable at the second stage will be 800 minus 500, that is only 300. So this facility is input tax credit facility, and this increases the efficiency of GST and its implementation. There are some other objectives also of GST, like to boost the export sector by refunding the entire GST charged, then to simplify the tax return procedures, and to just make the entire registration process or tax payment or refund of taxes and other transactions under GST through online mode or through electronic mode. So all these were the objectives of the GST, so that better tax management or tax structure can be erected in the country. Now let's move on to the advantages of GST. So what are the advantages of GST? The first advantage of GST is that it helps in mitigating the cascading effect. As we discussed in the objectives of GST, cascading effect means charging taxes on tax. So if tax has already been paid, then that should be not charged again. So double taxes are not charged. So this is one of the very important advantage that GST provides. Then the number second advantage is that it abolishes the multiple layers of taxations that previously existed. So there were in the previous regime there were so many indirect taxes that were charged by the center and the state, and the customers or the businessmen had to pay so many taxes, and it created lot of ambiguity and problems. So all those indirect taxes have been subsumed under GST, and now the primarily the tax which is charged is GST. Now the next benefit is regarding administration of GST. Means it has simplified, GST has simplified the administration of the taxation. The officers or whoever are given the responsibility of managing the entire implementation process of GST, they find it much easier to administer only one primary tax system rather than multiple layers of indirect taxes that used to exist previously. And also most of the transactions are done through electronic media, and invoices and are matched. There's a provision or system where invoices of the suppliers and recipients are matched, and so all these things have been helping in promoting better governance or taxation governance in the country. Excuse me. Then the next advantage is enhanced productivity of the logistics. So previously when commodity used to move from one state to another state, then entry fee was charged. Now those entry checkpoints have been reduced, and entry fees are not charged. So this and other logistic constraints have also been removed, due to which goods can freely move from one state to another state. And previously when if businessmen wanted to trade in so many states, then in every state they had to maintain warehouses. Now that compliance is not required. Means since the goods can be moved or taken to various states without any problem, without any hazard, so logistics productivity has been increased. Then the next advantage is it helps in creating national market. Definitely goods can freely flow from one state to other state, from one end to other end, without any difficulty, and the tax rates are also same. So this has this has been helpful in developing one national market for goods and services. So it has definitely strengthened our economy. Then the next advantage is that the ease of doing business has also increased. Means whenever a businessman wants to set up a business or to continue the existing business in a smooth and hassle-free manner, with less formalities for taxes and all that, so all these things have been simplified and smoothened under GST regime, and it helps in creating an atmosphere where business becomes or seems to be very easy, and it definitely attracts more and more entrepreneurs making investments in various business ventures. Then the next advantage is relating to organized sector, and that is more and more organized sectors, businesses are taken into or brought under the tax net, this definitely broadens the tax base of India, and the tax revenue collected will be increasing definitely by incorporating more and more organized sector into this tax structure. Then the next advantage is that it also helps in minimizing the litigations between a state and a center regarding jurisdiction of taxes. Means what amount of tax will be given to the center and what share will be given to the state. So those litigations have been resolved because predetermined rates and how that would be divided has been very clearly and transparently stated in this law. So this is another area of advantage. Then the next advantage is regarding tackling corruption and tax leakages. So as we've discussed in the objective also, that corruption the scope of corruption has been reduced because everything is transparent, open, the tax rates are fixed, it cannot be manipulated by the state any state, means other state, many states cannot charge many rates. There's a simplified single rate system covering a particular category. And also every invoices of the supplier and the recipient are matched, and then all the input tax credit facilities given, and so, and all the refund process and registration process, payment of taxes are all online. So all these have improved the performance of tax collection or tax execution in the country. There are some other advantages also, like it helps in redistributing the tax burden between the manufacturing and the service sectors. Then it speeds up the economic union of the country. It improves the economic condition or economic performance of the country. Then it lowers the transaction cost for final consumers, because only value addition is taxed, not the entire commodity. So the this type of or this system of taxation reduces the prices for the customers. Then there is uniformity in tax regime, and we are in close proximity with the international taxation charging standards. Then it also reduces the prices of manufacturing goods. So this definitely attracts more and more investments into the manufacturing sector. So this is a good sign for an economy. And it also helps in promoting exports. We have already discussed it, that since refunds are given in exports business, so GST or taxes are not matter in export business. So more and more exports can be done using GST facility. Now when we talk about advantages, there are some limitations or disadvantages also, because nothing is there without any deviation. Nothing is perfect, everything has some or the other limitations. So when we talk about the disadvantages of GST, the first disadvantage is that it is totally based on IT. That is, IT infrastructure is required. Everything is done through electronic mode. Online processes are there for registration, for payments of taxes, for refunds, for credit of input tax. Means if the infrastructure is not well equipped, then or where backward states where these kinds of facilities or skilled people are not in adequate numbers, then in those places application or implementation of GST is a challenging job. And they still in those places adhere to the previous tax regimes of VAT and all that, because they are not well equipped with the infrastructure that is required for GST implementation, that is e-governance facilities. And then the next disadvantage or limitation is regarding higher burden of tax for small and medium enterprises, SMEs. Previously all the SMEs whose turnover exceeded 1.5 crores, they were brought under the tax net by charging excise duties. Now all the SMEs whose turnover exceeds 40 lakhs have been brought under the net of GST. So for this sector, the it has been difficult, means they have to pay more taxes, or tax burden has increased on this sector. Then next difficulty is regarding increase in the burden of compliance. Means all the businessmen have to comply to the GST guidelines, the rules, the procedures, and this definitely helps in, or it creates an environment when a compliance is like a burden on the businessman. And then one important limitation of this GST is that it has excluded petroleum and petroleum products. It means all the taxes that are levied in petrol and petroleum products are not covered under GST, and the states charge taxes on these products, and due to which the prices of this product varies from state to state. So this is one of the important limitation of GST. Then another problem is in the area of requirement of skilled staff or personnel for implementing GST in an effective manner. So it requires a lot of coaching and training, and that facilities not yet reach, we have not reached that place where all the staff are well trained, well equipped, well skilled with all the knowledge that is required for executing GST. So that is also one problematic area. There are some other disadvantages also, like some items are expected to become more costlier in the GST regime as compared to the previous regime. So that is like courier services or health services, etc. So means those areas where taxes have been charged at a higher rate seems to be that such products are seems to be a problematic area for customers, because they have to pay more as compared to the previous position. And then the next disadvantage is that all the goods and commodities used by the differently able people, like wheelchairs or brails or other commodities, have been brought under the tax net that should have not been brought into tax net. That's why this GST has also been nicknamed as disability tax also. And there are complexities in taxation also, means the procedures they have to wait for or they need some time to accommodate or to adjust themselves to the new GST regime. So these were some of the limitations. But when we talk about any reform, so GST is also a reform in the taxation of our country, and definitely this reform has some gray areas, but definitely these are temporary. And with the time, since this GST is not a permanent act, it's still evolving and will be evolving. So definitely with the coming time in the future, these limitations would be taken up or considered by the GST Council, and this GST implementation would be made more simpler, more effective in the future, so that more tax can be collected and tax base can be broadened in our country. I hope you find this video useful, understanding the newer aspects of GST. Thank you.